The Idries Shah Foundation podcast. Practical Psychology for Today. Featuring the works of Idries Shah, voiced by David Alt. Welcome to the Idries Shah Foundation podcast. In this edition of the podcast, we will hear selections from Wisdom of the Idiots by Idries Shah. This audio is made available by the Idries Shah Foundation. Diagnosis. Bahauddin Naqshband once visited the town of Alucha after a deputation of citizens, hearing that he was passing along the nearby highway, waited upon him and begged him to spend some time with them. "Do you want me to satisfy your curiosity about me, to entertain me and do me honour, or to invite me to impart my teachings to you?" he asked them. The leader of the party, after a consultation with his fellows, replied, "We have heard much of you, and you can have heard nothing of us. Since you apparently give us the rare privilege of receiving your teaching, we will gratefully accept this from the alternatives which you have offered." Bahauddin entered the town. The whole populace assembled in the public square. Their own spiritual teachers ushered Bahauddin to a place of honour, and when he was seated, the chief of the philosophers of Alucha began to address him in these terms. "Sublime presence and great teacher, we have all heard of you, for who has not? But since you are doubtless unfamiliar with the thoughts of such insignificant people as ourselves, we beg to be allowed to delineate our ideas to you, so that you may support, amend, or refute them for us to our certain profit." But Bahauddin stopped them, saying, "I will certainly tell you what you can do, but you need not tell me anything about yourselves." He then proceeded to describe to the people their methods of thought, and also their own shortcomings and the precise manner in which they looked upon different problems of life and of man. After this, he said to the astonished citizens, "Now, before I tell you how you may remedy this state of affairs, perhaps you will voice any feelings suppressed in your hearts, in order that I might explain myself for your edification, so that you could attend more completely to what I am about to say." The same spokesman, after conferring with the people, said, "O ancient and guide, the unanimous cause of our wonderment and curiosity is how you could know so much about us and our problems and our speculations. Are we right in inferring that such knowledge can only exist where there is a superior form of direct perception in an unusually blessed individual?" In answer, Bahauddin called for a jug, some water in a pitcher, some salt and flour. He poured salt, flour, and water into the jug. Then he said to the chief spokesman, "Please be good enough to tell me what is in this jug." The man said, "Reverence, there is a mixture of flour, water, and salt." "How do you know the composition of the mixture?" asked Bahauddin. "When the ingredients are known," said the spokesman, "there can be no doubt about the nature of the mixture." "That is the answer to your question, which surely requires no further explanation from me," said Bahauddin Naqshband. The Cashal. It is related that a dervish once stopped a king in the street. The king said, "How dare you, a man of no account, interrupt the progress of your sovereign?" The dervish answered, "Can you be a sovereign if you cannot even fill my kashkul, the begging bowl?" He held out his bowl, and the king ordered it to be filled with gold. But no sooner was the bowl seen to be full of coins than they disappeared, and the bowl seemed to be empty again. Sack after sack of gold was brought, and still the amazing bowl devoured coins. "Stop!" shouted the king, "for this trickster is emptying my treasury." "To you I am emptying your treasury," said the dervish, "but to others I am merely illustrating a truth." "And the truth?" asked the king. "The truth is that the bowl is the desires of man, and the gold what man is given. There is no end to man's capacity to devour without being in any way changed. See, the bowl has eaten nearly all your wealth, but it is still a carved sea coconut, and has not partaken of the nature of gold in any respect." "If you care," continued the dervish, "to step into this bowl, it will devour you too. How can a king then hold himself as being of any account?" The Cow. Once upon a time there was a cow. In all the world there was no animal which so regularly gave so much milk of such high quality. People came from far and wide to see this wonder. The cow was extolled by all. Fathers told their children of its dedication to its appointed task. Ministers of religion adjured their flocks to emulate it in their own way. Government officials referred to it as a paragon which right behavior, planning, and thinking could duplicate in the human community. Everyone was, in short, able to benefit from the existence of this wonderful animal. There was, however, one feature which most people, absorbed as they were by the obvious advantages of the cow, failed to observe. It had a little habit, you see, and this habit was that as soon as a pail had been filled with its admittedly unparalleled milk, it kicked it over. Individuality and quality. Yaqub, the son of the judge, said that one day he questioned Bahuddin Naqshband in this manner. "When I was in the companionship with the Murshid of Tabriz, he regularly made a sign that he was not to be spoken to when he was in a condition of special reflection. But you are accessible to us at all times. Am I correct in concluding that this difference is due to your undoubtedly greater capacity of detachment, the capacity being under your dominion rather than fugitive?" Bahuddin told him, "No, you are always seeking comparisons between people and between states. You are always seeking evidences and differences. When you are not, you are seeking similarities. You do not really need so much explanation in matters which are outside such measurement. Different modes of behavior on the part of the wise are to be regarded as due to differences in individuality, not of quality." Paradise of Song. Ahanga was a mighty swordsmith who lived in one of Afghanistan's remote eastern valleys. In time of peace he made steel ploughs, shoed horses, and, above all, he sang. The songs of Ahanga, who is known by different names in various parts of Central Asia, were eagerly listened to by the people of the valleys. They came from the forests of giant walnut trees, from the snow-capped Hindu Kush, from Katagan and Badakhshan, from Khanabad and Kuna, from Herat and Pagman to hear his songs. Above all, the people came to hear the song of all songs, which was Ahanga's song of the Valley of Paradise. This song had a haunting quality and a strange lilt, and most of all, it had a story which was so strange that people felt they knew the remote Valley of Paradise of which the smith sang. Often they asked him to sing it when he was not in the mood to do so, and he would refuse. Sometimes people asked him whether the valley was truly real, and Ahangar could only say, "The valley of the song is as real can be." "But how do you know?" the people would ask. "Have you ever been there?" "Not in any ordinary way," said Ahangar. To Ahangar and to nearly all the people who heard him, the valley of the song was, however, real as real can be. Aisha, a local maiden whom he loved, doubted whether there was such a place. So too did Hassan, a braggart and fearsome swordsman who swore to marry Aisha, and who lost no opportunity of laughing at the smith. One day, when the villagers were sitting around silently after Ahangar had been telling his tale to them, Hassan spoke. "If you believe that this valley is so real, and that it is, as you say, in those mountains of Sangan yonder, where the blue haze rises, why do you not try to find it?" "It would not be right, I know that," said Ahangar. "You know what it is convenient to know, and do not know what you do not want to know," shouted Hassan. "Now, my friend, I propose a test. You love Aisha, but she does not trust you. She has no faith in this absurd valley of yours. You could never marry her, because when there is no confidence between man and wife, they are not happy, and all manner of evils result." "Do you expect me to go to the valley, then?" asked Ahangar. "Yes," said Hassan and all the audience together. "If I go and return safely, will Aisha consent to marry me?" asked Ahangar. "Yes," murmured Aisha. So Ahangar, collecting some dried mulberries and a scrap of bread, set off for the distant mountains. He climbed and climbed until he came to a wall which encircled the entire range. When he had ascended its sheer sides, there was another wall, even more precipitous than the first. After that, there was a third, then a fourth, and finally a fifth wall. Descending on the other side, Ahangar found he was in a valley strikingly similar to his own. People came out to welcome him, and as he saw them, Ahangar realized that something very strange was happening. Months later, Ahangar the smith, walking like an old man, limped into his native village and made for his humble hut. As word of his return spread throughout the countryside, people gathered in front of his home to hear what his adventures had been. Hassan the swordsmith spoke for them all and called Ahangar to his window. There was a gasp as everyone saw how old he had become. "Well, Mr. Ahangar, did you reach the Valley of Paradise?" "I did." "And what was it like?" Ahangar, fumbling for his words, looked at the assembled people with a weariness and hopelessness that he had never felt before. He said, "I climbed and I climbed and I climbed, when it seemed as though there could be no human habitation in such a desolate place, and after many trials and disappointments I came upon a valley. This valley was exactly like the one in which we live. And then I saw the people. Those people are not only like us people, they are the same people. For every Hassan, every Aisha, every Ahangar, every anybody whom we have here, there is another one, exactly the same in that valley. These are likenesses and reflections to us when we see such things, but it is we who are the likeness and reflection of them. We who are here, we are their twins." Everyone thought that Ahangar had gone mad through his privations, and Aisha married Hassan the swordsman. Ahangar rapidly grew old and died, and all the people, everyone who had heard this story from the lips of Ahangar, first lost heart in their lives, then grew old and died, for they felt that something was going to happen over which they had no control and from which they had no hope, and so they lost interest in life itself. It is only once in 1,000 years that this secret is seen by man. When he sees it, he is changed. When he tells its bare facts to others, they wither and die out. People think that such an event is a catastrophe, and so they must not know about it, for they cannot understand, such is the nature of their ordinary life, that they have more selves than one, more hopes than one, more chances than one, up there in the paradise of the song of Ahanga the mighty smith. This podcast is copyright 2016, the Idries Shah Foundation.